Peace, Israel. I hope everyone is having a blessed and peaceful Sabbath. We will start this lesson the way we normally do. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. Today, this topic, today's lesson, the title of this lesson will be The Two Families. The Two Families. Judah, our governors, Levites, our priests. Okay, so we're going to discuss these two specific and very important families in the house of Israel, and that will be the house of Judah, the tribe of Judah, the house of David, and we will discuss Levites, the house of Levi, the priests, the ministers to the Most High. We're going to discuss their importance. This lesson is going to be pretty lengthy, but it's going to give you some information that's vital that you will need. Anyway, tighten up your jaws and let's get to work. All right, we will start off at 2 Samuel. 2 Samuel, chapter 7. 2 Samuel, chapter 7. Okay, and we will start off at verse 12. We will be reading 12 through 29 of 2 Samuel, chapter 7. Okay, we're at 2 Samuel. Okay, we're at chapter 7, and we'll start at verse 12. Verse 12 reads, "And when thy days be fulfilled, and thou shalt sleep with thy fathers, I will set up thy seed after thee, which shall proceed out of thy bowels, your loins, and I will establish his kingdom." Verse 13, "He shall build an house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. I will be his father, and he shall be my son. If he commit iniquity, sin, I will chasten him, I will correct him with the rod of men, and with the stripes of the children of men. But my mercy shall not depart away from him, as I took it from Saul, whom I put away before thee. And thine house and thy kingdom shall be established forever before thee. Thy throne shall be established forever." According to all these words and according to all this vision, so did Nathan speak unto David. Before we continue, the prophet Nathan is telling David, look, David, the Most High is going to establish your kingdom. It's going to be established forever. You're not going to build this house to the Most High. Your seed after you will build this house. That is Solomon. And Solomon will be a son to the Most High. Okay? And the Most High will not take his spirit away from Solomon as he did to Saul, who preceded David. Okay? Or who was David's predecessor. So, this is a covenant. As we continue, you will see that the Most High is making with David and his seed, his children. That's why he said it's going to proceed out of his bowels. Get something to drink. So he was going to establish a covenant with the house of David and all of David's seed forever. Okay? Now, we'll start at verse 17. "According to all of these words, and according to all this vision, so did Nathan speak unto David." Verse 18. "Then went King David in and sat before Yah, and he said, Who am I, O Yah? And what is my house, that thou hast brought me thitherto? And this was yet a small thing in thy sight, O Yah. But thou hast spoken also of thy servant's house for a great while to come." So the Most High was speaking to David of his house for a long time to come, because the Most High made a perpetual covenant with David, telling him, look, I'm going to establish your throne and I'm going to establish your seed forever. You will always have a man that is of your seed that will always stand before me. So David is saying, what a beautiful thing for you to speak so highly of me and my seed so far ahead. Okay, so he's being gracious here. All right, verse 20. And what can David say more unto thee? What can I say more unto thee? For thou, Yah, knowest thy servant. For thy word's sake, according to thine own heart, hast thou done all these great things, to make thy servant know them. Wherefore thou art great, O Yah, for there is none like thee, neither is there any God besides thee, according to all that we have heard with our ears. So here we are in the house of Israel. Nathan is telling David what the Most High had revealed to him. Then David goes into the Most High's house, and he's talking to the Most High, letting the Most High know, we don't know of any God besides you. Takes JC, shreds him. Next, verse 23. And what nation, and what one nation in the earth is like thy people? There's no one like the Most High's people. Even like Israel, whom Yah went to redeem for a people to himself, and to make him a great name, and to do for you great things, and terrible for thy land, before thy people, which thou redeemest to thee from Egypt, from the nations and their gods, lowercase idols. For thou hast confirmed to thyself thy people Israel, to be a people unto thee forever. And thou, O Yah, art become their God, or their strong one. Verse 25. And now, O Yah, the word that thou hast spoken concerning thy servant. So David is saying, the words that you have spoken concerning me and concerning his house, establish it forever, and do as thou hast said, and let thy name be magnified forever, saying, Yah, the host, is the strong one over Israel, and let the house of thy servant David be established before thee. So David's house, the house of David, and David's sons will be established upon that throne forever. That can never, ever change. A man will always be upon the throne in the house of David. That is a covenant that the Most High made with David. Excuse me. Now, verse 27, because we'll start with 29. For thou, O Yah of hosts, strong one of Israel, has revealed to thy servant, saying, I will build thee an house. Therefore hath thy servant found in his heart to pray this prayer unto thee. So this is where David is actually, he's in the house of the Most High speaking to him. 28, or praying to him. And now, O Yah, thou art that strong one, and thy words be true, and thou hast promised this goodness unto thy servant. Verse 29. Therefore, now let it please thee to bless the house of thy servant, that it may continue forever before thee. For thou, O Yah, hast spoken it, and with thy blessing, let the house of thy servant be blessed forever. So the Most High had told David, saying it once again, I'm going to establish a covenant with you. I will always keep your sons before me on this throne forever. So if that man is not out of the seed of David, he can't sit on that throne. Okay? So let that be established right there. We want to show where these covenants were actually established with the rulership with David. All right? So now, let's go to Numbers. We're going to go to, next, let's go to Leviticus. We will go to Leviticus, and we will go to chapter 1. And we will read verse 1 through verse, let's get verse 1. Let's read that. Book of Numbers. And we'll read verse 44. Book of Numbers. Numbers chapter 1. And we're going to read verse 44 Numbers chapter 1, verse 44 through 54. And this is the book of Numbers. So we just dealt with David's covenant being established with the Most High, and the Most High saying clearly that he's going to establish Solomon. Solomon is going to build the house for him, because Solomon built the house. David could not. But David did stack all the timbers and golds and copper and not copper and brass and everything else. He was actually stockpiling the hardware, the materials necessary for Solomon to build that temple. Okay, so he started stockpiling it long before his death. And the Most High told David that his son, who is Solomon, should Solomon step out of line, or any of David's seed step out of line, that he would chasten them with stripes. And that is with stripes we are healed, the rest of Israel, when our kings get corrected, when our governors get corrected, who you call kings erroneously, when our priests and ministers, the Levites, get corrected. Stripes, affliction, that's one. Hunger and starvation, dearth, famine. You understand? Disease, pestilence, and of course the sword and captivity. These are all stripes. So when we stepped out of line, our leadership, with their stripes, we got healed, because when they're right, we get right. And when they go astray, we get the stripes along with them. All right. So now let's get to what we wanted to get to. Levites. We want to discuss these Levites. All right. Let's go once again. Numbers chapter 1. We will start at verse 44. Verse 44 reads, "These are those that were numbered, which Moses and Aaron numbered, and the princes of Israel, being 12 men. Each one was for the house of his father." So, when we decide to establish our house, it was always established. Your genealogy was always established through the house of your father. You are the seed of your father. So in the house of Israel, that's how we do things. You are not the seed of your mother. You are the seed of your father. So this is how we establish, genealogy in the house of Israel. Okay? Verse 45. "So are all those that were numbered of the children of Israel by the house of their fathers, from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war in Israel. Even all they that were numbered were 600,000, 3,550. But the Levites, after the tribe of their fathers, were not numbered among them." This is important. The Levites were not numbered. And the reason for that is the Levites are a totally separate tribe altogether. They are the priests and they are the ministers of the Most High. The Most High solely took the house of Levi to himself. So they were not numbered. So you hear the term 12 tribes is actually 13, not 12. The only reason you hear 12 is because Levi was not numbered. That's the only reason why they're 12. There's actually 13. Remember, Joseph has the place of the firstborn. And remember, the firstborn gets a double portion. So when you list the tribes of Israel, remember there were 12 boys. Okay? But of those 12 boys, one of them is holds the number one spot, if you will. Okay? Holds the spot of the eldest, though he's not. That would be Joseph. Okay, so Joseph, since he is the firstborn, because Reuben screwed up, Okay, Joseph now is the firstborn, and the firstborn gets a double portion. So if you got 12 boys, okay, and you took Joseph out, now you've got 11. Okay, and Joseph is represented twice by his sons, Joseph, Ephraim, and Manasseh. So when you have 11 and you insert 2, you get 13. Okay, so there are 13 tribes. But you don't hear that term a lot because Levi is not numbered. So if we took the tribe of Levi out, now instead of having 13, you have 12. Okay, so I hope you understand that. Okay, so the only reason why you hear 12 tribes is because Levi is not numbered. The actual number is 13. Okay, but you hear 12 because Levi is not numbered, because they are solely belongs to the Most High himself. Totally separate group of men, special above the rest of them. All right, now let's get back to verse 48. We're in Numbers chapter 1. Verse 48 reads, "For Yah had spoken unto Moses, saying, Only thou shalt not number the tribe of Levi, neither take the sum of them among the children of Israel. But thou shalt appoint the Levites over the tabernacle of testimony, and over all the vessels thereof, and over all things that belongeth to it. They shall bear the tabernacle and all the vessels thereof, and they shall minister unto it, and shall encamp round about the tabernacle." All right. 51. "And when the tabernacle set it up forward, the Levites shall take it down. And when the tabernacle is to be pitched, the Levites shall set it up. And the stranger that cometh nigh shall be put to death." Now, that stranger that cometh nigh shall be put to death. That's just a regular Israelite. Okay, that's not a Philistine or a Egyptian. Anyone that is of those rest of the tribes, of the 11 tribes or the 12 tribes, let's put it that way, because Levi's by themselves. So when you got the Levites at work, now you've got 12 tribes. Anyone that touch any of those holy things, that's not a Levite. And specifically, a priest that has the authority to handle those holy things in the tabernacle. You're a dead man. If you look at Uzzah, when they were transferring the ark from the Philistines after we were defeated at Shiloh, you reached for it to touch that ark for any reason, and that man was killed because he created a breach. Okay, you have to be of the bloodline of Levi, and specifically a priest, to be touching those artifacts, if you will. You can't touch those instruments. Okay, even if you're a Judite, you could be from Dan, you could be from Asher, any tribe. Those things do not appertain to you. Those are strictly to the priests, the Levites. Okay. Now let's go to we're on verse 52. "And the children of Israel shall pitch their tents, every man by his own camp, and every man by his own standard throughout their host." So every camp, every family had a specific place they had to be. The Most High is about order. You just can't just do things how you want to do it. Verse 53. "But the Levites shall pitch round about the tabernacle of the testimony, that there be no wrath upon the congregation of the children of Israel. And the Levites shall keep the charge of the tabernacle of testimony. And the children of Israel did according to all that Yah commanded Moses, so did they." So what we're learning here is that these Levites are completely separate from every other tribe in the house of Israel. They are the only people that can minister directly to the Most High. That will be your high priest. Okay, only the high priest can do this. And I was asked by a young man, he asked me, what does it mean to minister to the Most High? Because, folks would think, minister to the Most High, are you teaching the Most High something? No, that's not the case. To minister to the Most High simply means to serve him. If you're the minister of education, what you're doing, you're serving in that post. Okay, you're serving, you're being of service in a post. So to be a minister simply means you are in service to something or someone. So the Most High's ministers are those who are in service to him, direct service to him. And those are our high priest, okay, and our priest. All right. So we've got all the way to 54 with that. Let's go to Numbers chapter 3. Let's flip over one chapter. Numbers chapter 3, and we will read verse 6 through 13. Numbers chapter 3, verse 6 through 13. And verse 6 reads, "Bring the tribe of Levi near, and present them before Aaron the priest, that they may minister unto me. And they shall keep his charge, and the charge of the whole congregation before the tabernacle of the congregation, to do the service of the tabernacle. And they shall keep all the instruments of the tabernacle of the congregation, and the charge of the children of Israel, to do the service of the tabernacle." We are to accept the sacrifices, clean the basins, touch the holy instruments. That's the job. That's the service of the tabernacle. Verse 9, "And thou shalt give the Levites unto Aaron and to his sons, that they are wholly given unto him out of the children of Israel." So all Levites were wholly given unto Aaron. Who was Aaron? High priest, brother of Moses, Levite. Keep in mind, Moses too is a Levite. That's how Moses can go in the tabernacle and do all these things, because he too is Levite. Okay? And we're at verse 10. "And thou shalt appoint Aaron and his sons, and they shall wait on their priest office, and the stranger that cometh shall be put to death." So no strangers. Verse 11, because we're going to 13. "And Yah spake unto Moses, saying, And I, behold, I have taken the Levites from among the children of Israel, instead of all the firstborn that openeth the matrix among the children of Israel. Therefore the Levites shall be mine." So the Levites are specifically the Most High's, period. Special above the rest of the tribes. Verse 13, "Because all the firstborn are mine. For on the day that I smote all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, I hallowed unto me all the firstborn in Israel, both man and beast. Mine shall they be. I am Yah." So, when the Most High sent his angel through and killed all the firstborn in Egypt, that's why we commemorate Passover. But the Most High told Pharaoh, "Pharaoh, you've got my son, who happens to be the nation of Israel. Let my son go, Pharaoh, because if you don't let my son go, Israel, my firstborn, you don't let him go, I'm going to kill all of your firstborn." In other words, look, man, you got my son. You've got my firstborn. You need to let him go. If you don't let my son go, I'm going to kill your son. I'm going to kill your firstborn. That's it. Once again, JC, shredded. Okay? Now, let's go to verse 45. Same chapter. Verse 45 reads, "Take the Levites instead of all the firstborn among the children of Israel, and the cattle of the Levites instead of their cattle, and the Levites shall be mine. I am Yah." So, we have established where the Levites are completely a separate bunch of people, a separate tribe within the house of Israel. All right, now let's go to Exodus. We're going to go to Exodus chapter 28. Exodus chapter 28. And we're going to read 1 through 11. Exodus chapter 28, 1 through 11. Let me turn some light on in here. 1 second. All right. Exodus 28, and we will start off at verse 1, and we will read through verse 11. And verse 1 of Exodus 28 reads, And take thou unto thee Aaron thy brother, and his sons with him, from among the children of Israel, that he may minister unto me in the priest office, even Aaron, Nadab, and Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar, Aaron's sons. So these four men, from them will come the priesthood. From them comes the priestly line. Okay? And thou shalt make holy garments for Aaron thy brother, for glory and for beauty. And thou shalt speak unto all that are wise-hearted, whom I have filled with the spirit of wisdom, that they may make Aaron's garments to consecrate him, that he may minister unto me in the priest office. And these are the garments which they shall make: a breastplate, and an ephod, and a robe, and a broidered coat, a mitre that you put on your head, okay, and a girdle. And they shall make holy garments for Aaron thy brother and his sons, that he may minister unto me in the priest's office. Verse 5. And they shall take gold and blue and purple and scarlet and fine linen. And they shall make the ephod of gold, of blue, and of purple, and of scarlet, and fine twined linen, with cunning work. It shall have the two shoulder pieces thereof joined at the two edges thereof, and so it shall be joined together. And the curious girdle of the ephod, which is upon it, shall be of the same according to the work thereof, even of gold, of blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen. Verse 9. And thou shalt take 2 onyx stones, and grave on them the names of the children of Israel. Not the names of the people of the whole world. This is not an everybody book. This is not a whole world story. This is a house of Israel story. In other words, this is a family affair. Let's go down to verse 10. 6 of their names on one stone, and the other 6 names on the rest of the other stones, according to their birth. Verse 11. With the work of an engraver in the stone, like the engravings of a signet, shalt thou engrave the 2 stones with the names of the children of Israel. Thou shalt make them to be set in ouches of gold. And that's where I wanted to stop for that. All right. So there's a reason why you go through Chronicles, you go through Numbers, you're getting names, you're getting genealogies. Okay, there's a reason for that. Any old clown can't be the priest. You go to these idolaters, these Christian churches, they've got a church on every corner. On every corner. All the priests, what they call themselves, pastors, right? Yeah, pastors or whatever. Bishops and all these other jokers. That's what they are. They're jokers. They're from any kind of race, any kind of tribe, any kind of anything. Not so with our God. This is not how he operates. If you're not of the seed of Aaron, if you're not a Levite, you can't get in his temple. And the Most High never had a temple, 6 and 7, 8 of them in one block. It's never happened. He only had one house on one place. They both got destroyed. The third one will be on the same place as the previous 2. There's only one house. And if you want to serve him, you got to go up to his house. The Most High don't have a house near your house, chump. So you need to wake up. Okay, his house is in Jerusalem, Mount Moriah, city of David. And we have to go up there. Like all the nations will have to go up there or send representatives up there. There is no, the Most High got a house 30 minutes from your house in New York, in New Jersey, in New Mexico, in Carolinas. No. So the God you serving is not this God. You are serving an idol. Now let's continue. We're on page 2. Let's jump into Exodus 28. We're still in there, but we're going to go to verse 28 this time. Exodus 28. we're going to take it up at verse 28 through verse 43. Like I said, we're going to do some reading today. Verse 28. And we're going to finish up at verse 43. And verse 28 of Exodus 28 reads, "And they shall bind the breastplate by the rings thereof unto the rings of the ephod with a lace of blue, that it may be above the cuirass girdle of the ephod, and that the breastplate be not loosened from the ephod." Excuse me. Verse 29. "And Aaron shall bear the names of the children of Israel in the breastplate of judgment upon his heart, when he goeth in unto the holy place, for a memorial before Yah continually." This is forever. Okay. 29. "And thou shalt put in the breastplate of judgment the Urim and the Thummim, and they shall be upon Aaron's heart," or the Thummim. I'm assuming that's some kind of metal or precious stone. "And they shall be upon Aaron's heart when he goeth in before Yah, and Aaron shall bear the judgment of the children of Israel upon his heart before Yah continually." These are statutes that's established forever between Aaron and his seed. Okay. Now, verse 31. "And thou shalt make the robe of the ephod all of blue, and there shall be a hole in the top of it, in the midst thereof. It shall have a binding of woven work round about the hole of it, as if it were the hole of a habergeon, that it may be not rent, that it may not be torn. And beneath upon the hem of it shalt thou make pomegranates of blue, and of purple, and of scarlet, round about the hem thereof, and bells of gold between them round about. A golden bell and pomegranate, a golden bell and pomegranate, upon the hem of the robe round about." 35. "And it shall be upon Aaron to minister, and his sound shall be heard when he goeth in unto the holy place before Yah, and when he cometh out, that he die not." So these bells that's hanging at the bottom of the ephod makes a noise when Aaron walks. That way, when he comes in, there's some notification that it's him. And when he leaves out, because you just run up in there and no bells are ringing, you're a dead man. Okay? So you understand that. Priests wear certain things. That man that's in that idolatrous church that you go to, does he wear the breastplate? No. He probably doesn't even know what it is. Does he wear the bonnet? No. Does he wear the linen ephod? No. At all. Does he have any engraven stones with the children of Israel on it? No. He's teaching you it's an everybody party. This is not the case. Most importantly, is he of the bloodline of Levi? Can he prove that? Is he teaching you the difference between holy and profane? Out of the mouth of the priest, the house of Israel should be seeking the law. Is your pastor in that idolatrous church you go to, is he teaching you the Most High's law? Is he keeping the Sabbath? Is he doing any of these things? These are things that you should consider. All right. I've almost forgot where I was. But let's pick it up at 1 second. Because we're reading on to 43. All right. Let's pick up with, because see, he dies not. So we're at 36. We're at verse 36. "And thou shalt make a plate of pure gold, and grave upon it, like the engravings of a signet, holiness to the Lord," or holiness to Yah. So your pastor don't have all that. "And thou shalt put it in a blue lace, or thou shalt put it on a blue lace, that it may be upon the mitre. Upon the forefront of the mitre it shall be, and it shall be upon Aaron's forehead, that Aaron may bear the iniquity of the holy things, which the children of Israel shall hallow in all their holy gifts. and it shall be always upon his forehead, that they may be accepted before Yah. So before these things can be accepted, before anything that can be accepted, he has to have this thing on. He has to have his bonnet on with the engraving on it by his forehead. Because if he's not properly dressed, these sacrifices and these offerings will be rejected. Okay? Verse 38. Verse 39. And thou shalt embroider the coat of fine linen, and thou shalt make the mitre of fine linen, and thou shalt make the girdle of needlework. And for Aaron's sons thou shalt make coats, and thou shalt make for them girdles, and bonnets shalt thou make for them, for glory and for beauty. And thou shalt put them upon Aaron thy brother, and his sons with him, and shalt anoint them, and consecrate them, and sanctify them, that they may minister unto me in the priest office. And thou shalt make them linen breeches to cover their nakedness. Underwear, linen, not mixed linen. Okay? For the loins even unto the thighs they shall reach. So it's got to go from the loins all the way down to the thighs. That's your underwear. And they shall be upon Aaron and upon his sons when they come in unto the tabernacle of the congregation, or when they come near unto the altar to minister in the holy place. That they bear not iniquity and die. You're coming there exposing yourself in any fashion, you're a dead man. It shall be a statute forever unto him and his seed forever. So anyone that's going to handle these sacrifices and do anything within the temple of the Most High, these individuals have to be of the seed of Aaron. This is established between Aaron and his seed, between Levites, forever, unchangeable, perpetual. Okay? So that is 43. So we're done with that. All right? Now we're going to go to Exodus 29. Let's flip over to Exodus 29. We're establishing that the priesthood is a special group of people to the Most High, and a man of any nation can't be the priest. Priests have to dress a certain way, and the priests have to do certain things. And your pastor is none of those. So you know. Exodus 29. That's where we are. We're at verse 5. We're reading verse 5 through 9. Exodus chapter 29, verse 5. And verse 5 read, And thou shalt take the garments and put upon Aaron the coat, the robe of the ephod, and the ephod, and the breastplate, and gird him with the curious girdle of the ephod. And thou shalt put the mitre upon his head, and put the holy crown upon the mitre. Then shalt thou take the anointing oil, and pour it upon his head, and anoint him. And thou shalt bring his sons, and put coats upon them. And thou shalt gird them with girdles, Aaron and his sons, and put the bonnets on them. And the priest's office shall be theirs for a perpetual statute, forever. The office of the priest forever belongs to these men. And thou shalt consecrate Aaron and his sons. That's where I wanted to go with that. I wanted to go verse 5 through 9. Once again, we're validating that the priests, the Levites, these gentlemen right here, the seed of Aaron, are the only ones that has anything to do with ministering this word. A man of another nation can't do it. A man of another bloodline can't do it. See, if you're going to scream you're a pastor, a minister, or anything like that, you better be able to prove that, number one, you're the house of Israel. So those curses have to fall upon you. Number two, you have to be able to prove that you're the house of Levi. And you can't do that. And the Levites have never, ever, at all, ministered in like 4, 5, 6 houses. Most houses only had one. 2 of them were built. They were both destroyed. But they were there one at a time on the same spot. Most High does not have a house. Does not have a house 5 minutes from your house. Wake up. All right. We're going to deal now. We have dealt with our governors being stripped. Last couple of videos we've done, it showed the house of David, right? And we were looking into the lineage of JC. We were looking into that. So in the lineage of JC, you understood the house of David. And you understood the governorship of Judah. So now we're looking into the leadership of our Levites. So we saw where our governorship, where that got switched because of one guy by the name of Coniah, is where it got cut off because of what Eliakim did and because of what Manasseh had done. That's Manasseh the governor is who I'm talking about, not Manasseh the tribe. Manasseh the governor of Judah. All right? So we see how our kings or our governors have messed us up. And the Most High had to switch. He took it away from the seed of Josiah. And it was then given to Zedekiah. So now when we see that governor that's to come, who's going to be of the seed of David, he's coming out of Zedekiah's line. Because it will no longer come out of Josiah's line. So what we're going to see here now, the reason why we're covering these Levites, we're going to see where the same thing took place. Where our priests were so foul that it was taken from Aaron's line and it was given to Zadok. Okay, it's still the seed of Aaron. Okay, but it was also switched to where Zadok, the high priest, now will come out of the bloodline of Zadok, which is still Levi, and we're going to cover that. Let's go to 2 Samuel, 1 Samuel. 1 Samuel, we're going to go with chapter 14. That way we can establish that Eli is in Shiloh, or was in Shiloh. All right. We're at 1 Samuel chapter 14, verse 3. This is just to establish that in Shiloh, this is where Eli is. And Ahiah, the son of Abiatub, 1 second. All right, I'm back. I was wondering why my screen was looking dark, but my battery is actually low on the computer, so I just plugged it up. Anyway, so now we're back to where everything has some light in it. All right, so here we are. We're establishing that Eli, the priest, was at Shiloh. And Ahiah, the son of Ahitub, Ishjabar's brother, the son of Phinehas, the son of Eli, Yah's priest in Shiloh, wearing an ephod, and the people knew not that Jonathan was gone. So, just read that to establish that Eli is the priest at this time. Okay? So, now we're going to go into what Eli did and what caused the Most High to switch the high priest over to Zadok. Okay? So, we're going to cover that right now. 1 Samuel, chapter 2. 1 Samuel chapter 2. 1 Samuel chapter 2, and we're going to verse 22 through verse 36. Excuse me. 1 Samuel chapter 2, verse 22 through 36. Let me get there. All right. 1 Samuel chapter 2, verse 22 reads, Now Eli was very old, and heard all the things his son did unto all Israel, and how they lay with the women that assembled at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. Some of you filthy, funky pastors do this. You know who you are. Some of you women are so crazy, you lay down with them. You know who you are. And he said unto them, why do ye such things? For I hear of your evil dealings by all this people. Nay, my sons, for it is no good report that I hear. Ye make Yah's people to transgress. So, our leadership, because of their errors and their foul manner in walking contrary to the law given, they have caused Israel as a whole to transgress. Failed leadership is what this is. Okay? Now, we're going all the way to verse 36. So here we are, verse 25. If one man sin against another, the judges shall judge him. But if a man sin against Yah, who shall entreat for him? In other words, it's one thing when a regular old Israelite, say a man of Gad, does something that's erroneous, that's egregious, that's against the Most High's commandments, his law. That's one thing. It's a totally different matter altogether when a Levite, the Most High's minister, especially a high priest or a priest, when he does something and sins against the Most High, it's a totally different matter altogether, because he has that ephod on. He wears that breastplate. He has that mitre on. He is taking those sacrifices. He is ministering into the Most High. That's an egregious sin. Totally different ballgame. And that's being addressed right here. Notwithstanding, they hearkened not unto the voice of their father, because Yah would slay them. So they didn't listen to what Eli had to say. Poor Eli. Eli wasn't really doing foul. His transgression was he put someone before the Most High. That's his problem. Abraham got called up into the mountain, and he told him, hey, I need to make the sacrifice. He goes up in the mountain, looks around, doesn't see any ram, any goats, nothing. So the Most High tell him, well, that sacrifice be your son. So Abraham was like, okay, well, that's what it is. Grabbed the knife, was ready to go to work. Whoa, angel came out, hey, stop, cut that out. The Most High pretty much just wanted to make sure that, hey, you're not going to put your son before me. That you're not going to put anything before him. So therefore, Eli's transgression, Eli didn't do anything per se by himself. What he did not do, he did not correct the errors of his sons. And that was his transgression. And it cost him his life. So, and it cost them their lives. So you understand, this is not Santa Claus you're dealing with. The Most High is not to be provoked. Just a reminder to you. All right. Now, we're at verse 26. And the child Samuel grew and was in favor both with Yah and with men. That's pertaining to Samuel. All right. But Samuel was pretty much getting the information of what the Most High was going to do to Eli and his family and his house. And we're going to get ready to read that here in a minute. All right, here we are. Let's start off. Let's go straight to verse 27. Make sure I'm exactly where I want to be. 1 second. All right. Yep, 2 Samuel 2:27. And there came a man of Yah unto Eli, and said unto him, Thus saith Yah, Did I plainly appear unto the house of thy father when they were in Egypt in Pharaoh's house? And did I choose him out of all the tribes of Israel to be my priest, to offer up my altar, to burn incense, to wear an ephod before me? And did I give unto the house of thy father all the offerings made by fire of the children of Israel? So here in verse 28 of 1 Samuel chapter 2, verse 28, the Most High is asking Eli these things. Did I not put your fathers in this position to do this special job unto me or for me and for the children of Israel? Did I not do this? Verse 29. Wherefore kick ye at my sacrifices and at mine offerings, which I have commanded in my habitation, and honorest thy sons above me, to make yourselves fat with the chiefest of all the offerings of the children of Israel. So Eli is honoring his sons above the Most High himself. So he's letting his sons get away with all manner of foulness. They're jacking the sacrifices, threatening folks is bringing up offerings, taking stuff for themselves, making themselves fat. And Eli did not do anything to stop it. So Eli, instead of doing what he was commanded to do and to honor the Most High in his position, Eli chose to let his sons get away with that. And that's an egregious sin. So the Most High killed him and killed his sons. We're going to read that. Verse 30. Wherefore, Yah, the strong one of Israel, said, I said indeed that thy house and the house of thy father should walk before me forever. So he's telling Eli, I said that your house and the house of Aaron will walk before me forever. But Yah saith, be it far from me. For them that honor me, I will honor. And they that despise me shall be lightly esteemed. Behold, the days come that I will cut off mine arm in the arm of thy father's house, that they shall not be an old man in thy house. Otherwise, I'm going to kill him. So that's what he's promising to do to Eli's house. And thou shalt be an enemy in my habitation, in all the wealth which God shall give Israel, and there shall not be an old man in thine house forever. So of all the good things I'm going to do for the house of Israel, there will not be an old man in your house, Eli, for what you have done. This is the Most High speaking to his priest. Verse 33. And the man of thine, whom I shall not cut off from my altar, the ones that he's not going to cut off, shall be to consume thine eyes, and to grieve thine heart, and all the increase of thine house shall die in the flower of their age. So those men are going to die young. All of Eli's seed, Most High is going to kill them off young. They're not going to live to be old men. Okay. Verse 35. This speaks to Zadok. Okay, this is to that priest that will take over when the switch goes down. Zadok is going to pick it up, because Zadok was faithful when Eli and the rest of him and his sons were gone astray. Zadok still maintained and did right. So Zadok is the one that was given the priesthood, or took up the priesthood after this breach. All right, verse 35 reads, and I will raise me up a faithful priest, that shall do according to that which is in mine heart and in my mind. And I will build him as a sure house, and he shall walk before me anointed forever. He shall walk before mine anointed forever. That priest that's going to walk before his anointed is always the king or the governor of Israel. I know you heard Creflo Dollar talking about God's anointing, and all that crap. See, folks don't even know what that is. Every priest of Israel is anointed. Every king or governor is anointed. You understand? So that's a bunch of men you're talking about. There ain't no one anointed person. There is no such thing. So you know. All the governors, who you call kings, are anointed. They're all Yah's anointed. All the kings are and were. So are all the priests. So you know. All right. So we've got that clear pertaining to The Most High is saying he was going to raise up a faithful priest. And that faithful priest is Zadok. And we're going to go and take a look at that in a minute. Now let's jump to chapter 3. Still in 1 Samuel. 1 Samuel chapter 3. One second. Chapter 3, and we will start at verse 11 through 14. Take a sip. My throat is getting dry, but bear with me. All right. So here we are. 1 Samuel chapter 3, verse 11 through 14. 1 Samuel chapter 3, verse 11 through 14. All right. And it reads, verse 11 reads, "And Yah said to Samuel, Behold, I will do a thing in Israel, at which both the ears of everyone that heareth it shall tingle." Let me reread that. We're at 1 Samuel chapter 3, verse 11. "And Yah said unto Samuel, Behold, I will do a thing in Israel, at which both the ears of everyone that heareth it shall tingle." So your ears are going to tingle when you hear this thing. You better tell you what it is. Verse 12. "In that day," in the day that he does this, makes your ear tingle, "I will perform against Eli all things which I have spoken concerning his house. When I begin, I will also make an end." So he's going to do it all at once. Because he said he would pretty much destroy the house of Eli for what he has done. So we're going to read that. Verse 13. "For I have told him that I will judge his house forever for the iniquity, sin, which he knoweth, because his sons made themselves vile, and he restrained them not." So you got a priest who's got some foul sons. Now, you can't be a priest unless your father was a priest before you. Unlike the Catholic Church, where these priests are men of different nations, different nationalities, and they don't get married, hence they're homosexuals and pedophiles. The God of this book that I serve, his priests have wives and children. And you cannot be a priest unless your father was a priest, because you are a priest by bloodline, genealogy, not because you went to seminary school, chump. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Now, here we are. Verse 14. Verse 14, that's where we're going to stop. "And therefore I have sworn unto the house of Eli that the iniquity of his house shall not be purged with sacrifice nor offering forever." So Eli, our priest, was so foul, and he was the priest at Shiloh, that the Most High said, "Ain't nothing you can do to fix this." Nothing. And we know the Most High is forever merciful and also forgiving. But what Eli did was unforgivable. So this is what I want you to understand. This God has limitations. You're not going to come to him with nonsense. It doesn't work. He has cutoff points. So this is not Santa we're dealing with. Okay? So no matter what Eli did, no matter what he did, no sacrifices, Most High said he would not purge it. Let me reread that for effect. And he's a priest. And the Most High would not pardon his house for what he did. No matter what. No sacrifices, nothing he could have done to stop what was coming to his house. Most High would not pardon it at all. Let me reread that. "And therefore I have sworn unto the house of Eli that the iniquity, sin of Eli's house shall not be purged with sacrifice nor offering forever." Don't even try it. It's not going to work. So you'll understand that the Most High is no plaything. Okay? Just to make that clear. For all of you out here who are partaking in nonsense. Let's go to 1 Samuel. Still in 1 Samuel. We're going to go to chapter 4. Just move over to the next chapter. We're going to read verse 10 through 18. All I'm establishing is how our priesthood went astray. We've already covered how the governors went astray. So now we're covering how the priesthood went astray. We're in 1 Samuel chapter 4, and we're dealing with verse 10 through 18. And this is where the Philistines, because of what Eli is doing, him and his foul sons laying down with women in the congregation, jacking people up for their sacrifices, threatening them, and everything else that he's doing, and Eli is not saying anything about it, the Most High caused, he caused the ark to be taken by the Philistines. And he caused Israel to be defeated before the Philistines. Here's what you got to understand. Can't no nation beat us if we're in this law. Can't no one come up against you if you're in this law. But the minute you stray from it, the Most High will personally send bands in array against you. And so because of Eli's transgression, our leadership, we went to fight the Philistines and took a beating. Beating was so bad, they jacked us. Jacked us for the ark. Took the ark. Can you believe that? Jacked us for the ark, took it away. And the Most High allowed this to happen because of what Eli is doing. All right, let's get back to it. Starting at verse 10, 1 Samuel chapter 4, verse 10. And the Philistines fought, and Israel was smitten, beat down. And they fled every man into his tent. And there was a very great slaughter, for there fell of Israel 30,000 footmen. Yeah, imagine that. And the ark of Yah was taken, and the two sons of Eli, Hophni and Phinehas, were slain. So the Most High did what he said he would. I'm going to kill the man in your house. So he did that. And he caused the ark to be taken by the Philistines. Now let's read where he breaks Eli off, kills him. Verse 12. And there ran a man of Benjamin out of the army and came to Shiloh the same day with his clothes rent. That same day with his clothes rent, and with earth upon his head. He's sorrowful, he's mournful. Something bad happened. And when he came, lo, Eli sat at the seat by the wayside watching, for his heart trembled for the ark of Yah, because he knew, hey, where's the ark? And when the man came into the city and told it, all the city cried out. And when Eli heard the noise of the crying, he said, what meaneth the noise of this tumult? And the man came in hastily and told Eli. Now Eli was 98 years old. His eyes were dim that he could not see. And the man said unto Eli, I am he that came out of the army, and I fled today out of the army. And he said, what is there done, my son? And the messenger answered and said, Israel is fled before the Philistines, and there hath been also a great slaughter among the people. And thy two sons also, Hophni and Phinehas, are dead, and the ark of Yah is taken. And it came to pass, when he made mention of the ark of Yah, that he fell back off the seat backward by the side of the gate, and his neck brake, and he died. For he was an old man and heavy, and he had judged Israel 40 years. All right. So, because of Eli's transgression and that of his seed, his sons, the Most High removed him. You understand? Now, one of his sons, Phinehas, had a son, and the line continued for a little bit until David kicked him out. All right. So, and then replaced him with Zadok. This is where the switch takes place. And we're getting ready to go to that. Now let's get a quick mention of Zadok. Let's see Zadok real quick. Let's go to Samuel, 2 Samuel. 2 Samuel, verse 15. Chapter 15. Looking at 2 Samuel, chapter 15, not verse 4, but verse 24. Verse 24. We're looking at the first mention of this man Zadok. Okay, first mention of this man Zadok. So we're 2 Samuel, chapter 15, verse 24. And it reads, and lo, Zadok also and all the Levites were with him, bearing the ark of the covenant of Yah. And they sat down the ark of Yah. And Abiathar, who is the seed of Eli, went up unto all the people had done, until all the people had done passing out of the city. So this Abiathar, this guy is coming out of the line of Eli. Okay? So we're going to look where he gets the boot. And when he gets kicked out, this is where Zadok picks up the leadership as or what you may call the priesthood. All right? All right. We're going to go to our 1 Kings chapter 2. 1 Kings chapter 2, verse 26 and 27. So here we are, 1 Kings chapter 2, okay, verse 26 reads, and upon Abiathar the priest said the king, get thee to Anathoth, unto thine own field, for thou art worthy of death, but I will not at this time put thee to death, because thou bearest the ark of Yah before David my father, and because thou hast been afflicted in all wherein my father was afflicted. So the only reason why this man was not put to death was because Solomon, being as wise as he was, said, look, all the troubles and afflictions my father been through, you've been through with him, because he was priest at the time. But he told him to pretty much get out of his sight. Okay, so he kicked him out. All right. Verse 27. So Solomon thrust out Abiathar from being priest unto Yah, that he might fulfill the word of Yah, which he spake concerning the house of Eli in Shiloh. So that right there confirms that the priesthood is now officially switched. It is firmly on the shoulders of Zadok and his seed. Okay? And we will go to Jeremiah and Ezekiel to confirm this. So now we've got two more places to go. We're going to go to Ezekiel, and we're going to go to Jeremiah, and we'll wrap it up. So let's go straight to Ezekiel. Ezekiel chapter 44. Ezekiel chapter 44, and we're looking at verse 9. Ezekiel chapter 44, and we're at verse 9. And we're reading 9 through 31. Verse 9 reads of Ezekiel chapter 44. Thus saith Yah, no stranger uncircumcised in heart, nor uncircumcised in flesh, shall enter into my sanctuary, of any stranger that is among the children of Israel. And the Levites that are gone away far from me, Eli and the rest of them, when Israel went astray, which went astray away from me after their idols, they shall even bear their iniquity. Yet they shall be ministers in my sanctuary, having charge of the gates of the house, and ministering to the house. They shall slay the burnt offerings and the sacrifice for the people, and they shall stand before them to minister unto them. So our priests who went astray, they can no longer hold that priesthood. They can take sacrifices, but they have to bear their shame for what they did when they turned away and walked after idols, vanity, and were doing things contrary to the Most High's law. Verse 12. Because they ministered unto them before their idols, and caused the house of Israel to fall into iniquity. Therefore have I lifted up my hand against them, saith Yah, and they shall bear their iniquity, they shall bear their sin for what they did, cause the house of Israel to go astray. And they shall not come near unto me, to do the office of a priest unto me, nor to come near to any of my holy things in the most holy place, but they shall bear their shame and their abominations which they have committed. So these priests will have to bear their shame. They can't come near the Most High. But I will make them keepers of the charge of the house, for all the service thereof, and for all that shall be done therein. Verse 15. But the priests, the Levites, the sons of Zadok, that kept the charge of my sanctuary when the children of Israel went astray from me, they shall come near to me, to minister unto me, and they shall stand before me to offer unto me the fat and the blood, saith Yah. So Eli and his seed cast out. In comes Zadok and his seed, because Zadok kept the charge of the Most High when Eli and the rest of them went astray. And so they have to bear their shame. They can no longer come before the Most High. They can't touch his holy things. They can't do any of that. So they must bear their shame for what they have done. Verse 16. This speaks to the seed of Zadok. They shall enter into my sanctuary, and they shall come near to my table to minister unto me, and they shall keep my charge. And it shall come to pass that when they enter in at the gates of the inner courts, that they shall be clothed with linen garments, and no wool shall come upon them, whilst they minister in the gates of the inner court and within. They shall have linen bonnets upon their heads, and shall have linen breeches upon their loins. They shall not gird themselves with anything that causes sweat. Verse 19. And when they go forth into the outer court, even into the outer court to the people, they shall put off their garments wherein they ministered, and lay them in the holy chambers, and they shall put on other garments, and they shall not sanctify the people with their garments. Neither shall they shave their heads. Ain't no such thing as a bald-headed priest. So if your priest or your pastor got a bald head, he ain't about this law right here. Neither shall they shave their head, nor suffer their locks to grow long. Ain't no such thing as a long-haired priest. It's not happening. They shall only poll their hair. Keep it short. Neither shall any priest drink wine when they enter into the inner court. Neither shall they take for their wives a widow. One of the Most High's priests can't marry a widow. Nor her that is put away can't marry no divorced woman either. But they shall take maidens of the seed of the house of Israel. Any woman from the house of Israel. They cannot marry any woman outside of the house of Israel. Or a widow that had a priest before. So our priest can marry a woman who is a widow that was married to a priest before. But he's not to marry a divorced woman. He's not to marry a widow, unless that widow was married to a priest. And he's not to marry any women that are not of the house of Israel, period. So we got that straight. Now, we're at verse 23. And they shall teach my people, it's the Most High talking to you, and they shall teach my people the difference between the holy and profane, and cause them to discern make a difference between the unclean and the clean, which means the preachers, the pastors are supposed to be teaching the Most High's law, because that's what the Most High's law does. It teaches you the difference between clean and unclean, holy and profane. That's what you're going to get at this channel. Okay? Now here we go, verse 24. And in controversy they shall stand in judgment, and they shall judge it according to my judgments, this law. And they shall keep my laws and my statutes in all mine assemblies, and they shall hallow my Sabbaths. And they shall come at no dead person to defile themselves. That's supposed to be dealing with dead people. Unless, but for father or for mother, or for son, or for daughter, for brother, or for sister that hath not had no husband, they may defile themselves. And after he is cleansed, then shall reckon unto him 7 days. He got to clean himself up. If his father died and he had to go, deal with that situation. And after he is cleansed, they shall reckon it unto him 7 days. And in the day that he goeth into the sanctuary, unto the inner court, to minister into the sanctuary, he shall offer him sin offering, saith Yah. So if your father died and you're the priest, you go to his funeral and do all this, you are now unclean. So you need 7 days grace period, if you will. And then when you come back to the sanctuary, you got to offer a sin offering. So you understand that. Verse 28. And it shall be unto them for an inheritance. That's the priesthood. I am their inheritance, and ye shall give them no possession in Israel. I am their possession. That's all the house of Levi. So the house of Levi was not to be given a possession. Their possession is the Most High himself. Verse 29. They shall eat the meat offerings and the sin offerings and the trespass offerings, and every dedicated thing in Israel shall be theirs. And the first of all the first fruits of all things, and every oblation of all of every sort of your oblations shall be the priest. Ye shall also give unto the priest the first of your dough, that he may cause the blessings to rest in thine house. The priest shall not eat of anything that is dead of itself or torn, whether it be fowl or beast. That goes to all Israel anyway. All right. So we read that. 44, 9 through 31. Now, we're going to finish up with Jeremiah. That's our last stop. And then we'll wrap the lesson up. Jeremiah chapter 33. All right. Jeremiah chapter 33. While I'm here, remember the title of this lesson is The Two Families. Judah, our governors. Levites, our priest. So we're going to finish up touching on that very, very topic. Okay? Now we're going to go at verse 15. Jeremiah 33, chapter 33 of Jeremiah. And we will start this at verse 15. And we're reading 15 through 26. And then we're going to wrap it up. Probably going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of an hour, 30-minute lesson. Verse 15 of Jeremiah chapter 33 reads, In those days and at that time will I cause the branch of righteousness to grow up unto David, and he shall execute judgment and righteousness in the land. This is in Israel. In those days shall Judah be saved. Judah is going to be back in the land. And Jerusalem shall dwell safely. There will be no wars in Jerusalem. And this is the name wherewith she shall be called, the Lord our righteousness, or Yah our righteousness. That's what Jerusalem is going to be called when this righteous branch of David is raised up. All right? When this governor that's going to come out of the seed of Zedekiah, when he sits on that throne, all of Judah is going to be back in the land, and the city is going to be called something different. All right? The city is going to be called Yah our righteousness. That's going to be the name of the city. All right? Verse 17. For thus saith Yah, David shall never want a man to sit upon the throne of the house of Israel. Why is he saying this? Because he made a covenant with David that one of David's sons will always be on that throne. So the Most High is saying David would not want another man sitting on this throne, because I have made a covenant with him already that he will have a man on this throne and that David will be before me forever. Is David himself going to be there? No. But he will be there via his seed. You don't live forever. You die. And that's the end of you. You live forever through your seed, your children. So David will always be upon the throne in the house of Israel. He will always have a man upon the throne in Israel. Forever. Once the nation is established. Verse 18. So we just discussed right there in verse 17 the covenant that's made with the house of Judah and the house of David. Now we're going to go discuss in verse 18 the covenant that was made with the house of Levi. Neither shall the priest, the Levites, want a man before me to offer burnt offerings and to kindle meat offerings and to do sacrifices continually. So the Most High is saying the Levites would not want any other man. A Danite can't do it. Issachar can't do it. Gad can't do it. Simeon can't do it. Ephraim can't do it. Nobody can do it. Most High is saying Levi is not going to want another man from another tribe to offer sacrifices before the Most High, because that whole covenant was made with Levi. So Levi wouldn't want that. Hope you're with me. Verse 19. And the word of Yah came unto Jeremiah, saying, Thus saith Yah, if ye can break my covenant of the day and my covenant of the night, and that there should not be day and night in their season, then may also my covenant be broken with David my servant, that he should not have a son to reign upon his throne, and with the Levites the priests my ministers. So what the Most High is saying here, the Most High has a covenant with the day and he has a covenant with the night. The covenant with the day is the sun's going to rise. The covenant with the night is the night going to have moons, going to have stars, etc. And it's going to be dark. And the day is going to be light. And there will be night and day in their seasons every day. He's got a covenant with the earth. So the Most High is saying, if you can break the covenant I've got with night and day, if you can break that, then I will break my covenant with these two families. In other words, ain't no way, no how, that the covenant that the Most High made with David and the seed of Judah, pertaining to that scepter, the rulership, that will never be broken. And the covenant that he made with Levi pertaining to the priesthood will never be broken. That's what he's saying. Verse 22. As the host of heaven cannot be numbered, neither the sand of the sea measured, so will I multiply the seed of David my servant. David got sons all through this earth. All through the earth. And the Levites that minister unto me. So we got Levites here aplenty. We got the sons of David's here aplenty. All we got to know now is who that son of David is. We don't know who he is yet. He might be on the earth right now. We don't know. We don't know who our Levites are. We know they're everywhere because the Most High said they're going to be like sand of the sea. So will the house of Israel. So that's why it's important that we get this word out so we start waking our people up. Because these men are going to bring forth information that we do not have. They're going to go in this book and they're going to read it. Most High going to wake them up, put a special spirit upon them, and bring us some information that we don't have just yet. Okay, as far as making sense of some things that we may not be too crystal clear on. And we need not look to any nation for this information, because this book does not belong to them. It does not appertain unto them. These are strangers. Like I said before, this is a family affair. So let's spread it to the family so they can hear it, so they can go into this book, so we can start waking them up. That way the fine pieces of the puzzle starts coming together. All right, let's wake them up. Now let's go to verse 23. Moreover, the word of Yah came unto Jeremiah, saying, Considerest thou not what this people have spoken, saying, the two families, the two families, Judah and Levi, okay, the two families which Yah hath chosen, because he chose those two specifically. He chose Judah to be the scepter holder, to be his lawgiver, to be his governor, and he chose Levi to be his ministers, the priests. So these are the two families he's talking about. Let me start from the top. Considerest thou not what this people have spoken, saying, the two families which Yah has chosen, he hath even cast them off. Thus they have despised my people, that they should be no more a nation before them. So we're no longer a nation before the nations. And that's why they hate us, because our leadership is in disarray. So they're saying Most High done cast off his people. They have caused the memory of us to cease. We don't know who we are because they changed our names. We've been enslaved and scattered through all the lands. We are mocked. We are abused. We are a prey. We are a spoil to these nations. They hate us. They sit at their dinner tables and they talk about us. They despise us. We are a proverb and a byword in their conversations. They are our enemies. We have been delivered unto them. We wear their names, their last names, because were their possessions. So we have to understand this. All right? This is understanding exactly who we are. But the Most High got some stuff to say about that. Let's go down. Let's go down to 25. Thus saith Yah, Most High speaking, if my covenant be not with day and night, and if I have not appointed the ordinance of the heaven and earth, then will I cast away the seed of Jacob and David my servant, so that I will not take any of his seed to be rulers over the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's Israel. For I will cause their captivity to return and have mercy on them. Okay, what the Most High is saying here once again is, you can't break his covenant with day and night. And you can't break his covenant that he has with the ordinance of the heavens and the earth. And since you can't do that, he will not cast away the seed of Jacob, who is Israel, and David his servant. And that David will have a man before him. He will establish David's seed to be rulers over Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who is the nation of Israel. And he will cause our captivity to return. Meaning, once we return to these laws, he is going to come and gather us out of all of these lands and return us back to Jerusalem, and we will be established there. And we will not have any wars. It will be total peace, and every nation that had abused us will be in service to us. And the ones that don't want to serve, the Most High is going to kill them. And that's how that finishes out. So that's an hour and a half. That covers clearly those two families. They were specifically chosen out of the house of Israel for a task. One, rulership, holding the scepter, the house of Judah, the lawgiver. They failed, starting with Solomon. David failed too, but Solomon failed. David transgressed the Most High and he had to pay. The Most High stuck it to him. But David never went after false gods. He never did that thing. Solomon did. And the rest of the governors of Judah did the same thing. We know the governors in Israel did that because they were foul up north. But we had Josiah, who did not do such a thing. So if you're going to name your sons Israel, you name him Josiah. Okay? Because he was the best of our kings. There was none before him and there was none as good after him. And that's Josiah. Okay? So we have covered the falling away of our leadership and what got us in this mess. Once again, return to the Most High, adhere to his law. Do not follow after these strange idols. We are not the people that's around us. We are a totally separate nation of people. We live in these lands in the midst of them. We are not them. They are not us. We are not to do what they do. We are not to eat what they eat. We are not to worship who and what they worship. Because all of these nations is going to have to go up to Jerusalem and ask to be taught the ways of the God of Jacob, our God. So if they all have to turn and go up and ask to be taught of the ways of the Most High, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, then it's clear that what they're doing now is incorrect. They've got a church everywhere, and they don't have the priest that this God talks about. Got to be of a specific bloodline, got to do certain duties. They can go to just about any church they want because they got one on every block. So that's incorrect. In Israel, if you're in it, you need to get out. Step away from these idols. Separate yourself from these nations. We're not to do what they do. And you're going to see more of this start happening to where we're not going to be taking part in their foolishness anymore. And that should be an alert for them. Because if we do that, read Deuteronomy 30, the Most High is going to put the heat on them. All the curses that's been upon us is coming towards them. And there's nothing they can do to stop it. Absolutely nothing. Anyway, Israel, long lesson, informative lesson, important lesson. Losing my voice a little bit. I wanted to do about 2 or 3 today. Still might. Anyway, if you want to know what the truth is, look at the Most High's law. Adhere to it. Start turning back to these laws. Drop this idol. Take these idols out of your houses. Throw them away. Take them off your necks. Chuck them. Burn them. They're idols. They're graven images. Read Deuteronomy chapter 4. Let's return to the Most High's law. All praises to the Most High Yah. And I will finish with this. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth. Peace, Israel.